Hi, this is Mrs. Leffers reading Romeo and Juliet, Act 5, Scene 1. So this starts on a street in Mantua. Remember, this is where Romeo has gone because he's been banished from Verona. Balthasar, that's quite the name, right? Balthasar, Romeo's servant, comes from Verona, where Juliet is, to tell him that Juliet is dead and lies in the Capulets' tomb. Since Romeo has not yet received any word from the friar, he believes Balthasar. Ooh, oops, eek. He immediately decides to return to Verona in order to die next to Juliet. He sends Balthasar away and sets out to find a pharmacist who will sell him poison. Here we go. Romeo. If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep, my dreams presage some joyful news at hand. My bosom's lord sits lightly in his throne, and all this day an unaccustomed spirit lifts me above the ground with cheerful thoughts. I dreamt my lady came and found me dead. Strange dream that gives a dead man leave to think, and breathed such life with kisses in my lips that I revived, and was an emperor. Ah, me! How sweet is love itself possessed, when but love's shadows are so rich in joy. Enter Romeo's servant, Balthasar, booted. News from Verona! How now, Balthasar? Dost thou not bring me letters from the friar? How doth my lady? Is my father well? How fares my Juliet? That I ask again, for nothing can be ill if she be well. So he's talking to Balthasar. Remember, Balthasar doesn't know about the top secret plan. Okay, so he just heard that Juliet died because, again, remember, she took this potion a day before she was supposed to. So the friar hasn't been able to talk to Romeo and let him know what's really going on. So Balthasar comes. Romeo's like, oh, I had this weird dream that I died. It was super weird. Oh, I love Juliet. How's my dad? How's Juliet? I really just care about Juliet. Okay, Balthasar. Then she is well, and nothing can be ill. Her body sleeps in Capel's monument, and her immortal part with angels lives. I saw her laid low in her kindred's vault, and presently took post to tell it you. Oh, pardon me for bringing this ill news, since you did leave it for my office, sir. So he's like, I just saw Juliet dead in her tomb. I came right away because I thought you would want to know that your wife is dead. Romeo. Is it even so? Then I defy you, stars. Thou knowest my lodging. Get me ink and paper and hire post horses. I will hence tonight. So remember, they have to send these messages back and forth via people. There's no telephones. There's definitely no internet. There's no smartphones. So he's like, give me some pen and paper. I need to write a message. Balthasar. I do beseech you, sir, have patience. Your looks are pale and wild, and do import some misadventure. Hold on. Come here, Zeus. Zeus wants to say hi for a real quick second. He really likes Romeo and Juliet. All right. So Balthasar is like, why don't you just calm down? You seem really anxious, and you kind of feels like you might do something stupid. I don't want you to do anything stupid. Romeo. Tush, thou art deceived. Leave me and do the thing I bid thee do. Hast thou no letters to me from the friar? Don't you have any, mail from the friar? Don't you know anything from him? Balthasar, no, my good lord. Romeo, no matter. Get thee gone and hire those horses. I'll be with thee straight. Balthasar exits. Well, Juliet, I will lie with thee tonight. Let's see for means. Oh, mischief, thou art swift to enter in the thoughts of desperate men. I do remember an apothecary, and hereabouts he dwells, which late I noted in tattered weeds, with overwhelming brows, culling of simples. Meager were his looks, sharp misery had worn him to the bones, and in his needy shop a tortoise hung, an alligator stuffed, and other skins of ill-shaped fishes, and about his shelves a beggarly account of empty boxes, green earthen pots, bladders, and musty seeds, remnants of packthread and old cakes of roses were thinly scattered to make up a show. Nothing, noting his penury, to myself I said, and if a man did need a poison now, whose sale is present death in Mantua, here lives a caitiff wretch would sell it him. Oh, this same thought did but forerun my need, and this same needy man must sell it me. As I remember, this should be the house. Being holiday, the beggar's shop is shut. What ho, apothecary! So Romeo is saying these things out loud that wouldn't normally need to be said out loud, like in a movie or in a book by a character, because it would just, you would like see it in a movie, right? Or in a book, the author would talk about the scenery. So basically he's describing the inside of the apothecary's store. The apothecary would be like the pharmacist, but more like an herbalist, more like somebody who would grow plants and herbs, kind of like the friar in the play, and would have made his own tinctures and his own medicines for people. And the place is there's so many different crazy things in this shop that Romeo has been to. He's like, I remember telling myself that if a person needed some poison, this would be the place to come. So that's what he's explaining in that speech. The apothecary, aka the pharmacist. Who calls so loud? Romeo. Come hither, man, I see that thou art poor. Hold, here is 40 ducats. Let me have a dram of poison, such spoon-speeding gear as will disperse itself through all the veins, that the life-weary taker may fall dead, and that the trunk may be discharged of breath as violently as hasty powder fire doth hurry from the fatal cannon's womb. So he's talking to the apothecary, who's he says, I can see that you're poor. Here's a bunch of money. I want you to give me some poison that will work really fast. The apothecary says, such mortal drugs I have, but Mantua's law is death to any he that utters them. So he says, I have poison, but the law in this town says that a person will be put to death if they even ask for it. Keep it on the down low, Romeo. Romeo, art thou so bare and full of wretchedness and fearest to die? Famine is in thy cheeks. Need and oppression starveth in thine eyes. Contempt and beggary hangs upon thy back. The world is not thy friend, nor the world's law. The world affords no law to make thee rich. Then be not poor, but break it. And take this. So Romeo is playing to the man's need for money. He says, you are not fooling anyone. You don't have any money. Dude, your cheeks are so thin. You clearly need money for food. Take the money and give me the poison, I beg you. Apothecary, my poverty, but not my will consents. So the apothecary says, the fact that I'm poor is making me do this. My will, if I had the choice, I wouldn't be doing this for you. Romeo says, I pay thy poverty and not thy will. Apothecary, put this in any liquid thing you will, put this in any liquid thing you will, and drink it of. And if you had the strength of 20 men, it would dispatch you straight. So he says, okay, fine. Take this poison. It's strong enough to kill 20 men with a drop. This should get the job done for you. Romeo, there is thy gold. Worse poison to men's souls, doing more murder in this loathsome world than these poor compounds that thou mayest not sell. I sell thee poison, thou hast sold me none. Farewell. Buy food and get thyself in flesh. Come, cordial, and not poison. Go with me to Juliet's grave, for there I must use thee. So a cordial, this day and age, is an after-dinner drink. So Romeo basically says, I give you poison. I give you money. You haven't given me poison. This is going to be very good for me. This is just what I need. So that is Act 5, Scene 1.